What is up, Death in Paradise fans? In this video, I'll be ranking all of the series of Death in Paradise and Beyond Paradise from worst to best. And the way I did this is I ranked all the episodes, which will be a future video that I will make. And I ranked all the episodes, and then I averaged them out, and that is how I ended up deciding this is my favorite series, all that jazz. Also, if you cannot tell, I'm not British. I'm American. Please don't make fun of my accent in the comments below. Or do whatever you want, actually. Because you know what? If you're watching this video in the first place, I'm happy you're here. All right, let's get right into this. This is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Absolutely love it. I'm watching it for years, ever since Series 1 came out. So you know what? Let's get right into this. So, Series 1. It's a great foundation for the show. I mean, it's really fun. I love the banter between Richard Poole and Camille Bourdet. I really do enjoy Dwayne. Obviously, like Dwayne's my favorite character of the show. I literally have like a whole like set of outfits that just are like my Dwayne outfits. I even have a hat. Like literally, you look in my room, got all the Dwayne apparel. Like he's one of my role models. But anyway, Fidel also is pretty nice. One of my least favorite characters. I'll do a character ranking, but he's still pretty good. I think the big problem here with this season that doesn't make it like an S plus or anything is that I found a lot of the episodes to just be pretty okay, but not too like brilliant or anything. I think episode 1 and episode 3 are fantastic. I really like those mysteries. I like the first episode, but also there will be spoilers, so please don't be watching this if you haven't watched all that season. But anyway, so like episode 1, we got this awesome mystery set up, and you figure out right away this is a lady named Lily, and guess what? She's an evil cop, right? So that was cool. Great mystery there. Episode 2 with the harpoon gun and stuff, it was all right. I mean, it's pretty cool. I like the suspects there. Episode 3 was easily my favorite of this series, where the lady like commits suicide to prove this murder, and it ended up that the murder was the skeleton in a biology classroom. That blew my mind. That was the episode that really made me start loving the show. And yeah, I love series 1, but other than episode 3 and episode 1, I think that it is a rather mid series. I don't think it's had a good foundation, but the show hadn't really come into its own as much. The banter between D.I. Poole and Camille isn't as good, nearly as good as it is in series 2. And I think that series 2 is just so much better than the first one. And yeah, also, I will admit, Poole isn't my absolute favorite of the detectives. I really do like him, but just part of it is he gets easily the least screen time. So just coming back and watching series 1, it's great. It was a perfect way to start the show. Great foundation. But in the end, I'm just going to have to throw it in the B tier. That might offend some people, but really, I think it's great. The biggest problems, a lot of mysteries that aren't too memorable. And another problem, Selwyn is not in the show as much at this point. I love it when he's like, it becomes more of a regular where he's in like every episode. I know why some people don't like that, but yeah. I will say, yeah, I just think that the next few series just do everything this did, but better. So I'm just going to leave it in the B tier. Now, series 2 is definitely an A tier for me. Again, Poole isn't my favorite of the bunch. I really, really like him. Like every single detective in the show is an absolute banger. But again, yeah, he's not my absolute favorite. And I don't think this season has the best mysteries of the show, but it is still a huge step up from season 1. And it just has a lot of great things going for it. So let's see. Yeah, so Poole and Camille get even more fun, like banter and all that. I feel like the show had just really come into its own. So it feels more, it just built off that foundation of the first series very well. Now, my absolute favorite episode from this one One of my favorite episodes of the whole show is the finale of this one, where Poole has an opportunity to go back to London, and at the last minute decides, you know what, and then he goes, but then he comes back, and that was just so satisfying to me. Absolutely brilliant. Like, I loved that. And yeah, I don't think that it is still like top tier for me. I think it is a great, builds off the foundation of the first one super well. But I do like the series that have more like subplots with the characters here and there. Whereas I feel like these ones really just focus on the mystery a lot with a little bit of subplots, like, oh, Poole's annoyed that it's hot, and oh, Fidel's having a baby. But like later you get these fun romances on the side, or Selwyn's off doing some stupid thing. We do get the Dwayne subplots. That is true. We get the Dwayne subplots. It's pretty good. But I do appreciate when there's a little bit of that romance stuff in there later on, or I do. Whereas, yeah, I mean, it's all good. I love this series still. If someone said it was their favorite, I wouldn't argue. Like, it's great, but it's not like top tier. Really good, but not quite like legendary. All right, now series 3 is insane. I will say that first episode is absolutely crazy, especially after that we all got our heartstrings like tugged on at that finale of series 2, where he's like, he decides to come back and all that stuff, and then in 3 he dies right after he comes back, and it's just crazy. Yeah, that first episode is absolutely insane. It's fantastic. Now, I will say, and Humphrey's introduction is just perfect, like absolutely perfect. Now, the only thing I will say, I think that series 2 had better mysteries all around. I think that because we had developed Poole a bit, we get more of his style and all that. Whereas Humphrey's still at this point where he's kind of like not the most fun to watch with the mysteries. But I mean, he's a really fun character. But yeah. Now, the thing that elevates this for me above 2 is, yeah, that brilliant intro, and also I loved the whole Humphrey like starting to like fall in love with Camille, and it's super funny. So I really like that. I think that this is a great series as a whole, and I will admit I do like Humphrey more than Poole, so that is part of why it's elevated for me. But Poole solving his own murder, and that shock at the beginning of the series is just too good. And this is where the show started to show, oh, we can do more than just be detectives, we can get some crazy stuff going. And I thought that was so cool watching that for the first time. Still one of the best episodes of the show, but even still, this carries a lot of good stuff throughout this, because yeah, the finale's really good. And yeah, it just, Humphrey and Camille, I love the friendly banter of Poole and Camille. It's definitely different than the more like crush banter of Humphrey and Camille. And it's hard to say which I like better. I probably like Poole and Camille's banter a little better, but in the end, like, that first episode of series 3 is just too good. And I do think the mysteries are better in 2, but because I like Humphrey as a whole better, because of that great first episode, and because that fun like Humphrey falling in love plot, it's pretty fun. Now, series 4, I would even argue, is a little bit better than 3. And the reasoning for that is because, frankly, that, yeah, we get some new additions here. So, Fidel and Camille leave, and then we get JP and Florence, which is just such a cool, they're fun additions. And at first, I was like, bruh. I mean, I liked JP way better than Fidel, like, from the get-go, but Florence was just super annoying to me. I was like, he's just fake Camille. She's just way worse than Camille. But she eventually grows into her own, and I eventually ended up liking her better than Camille. It took took a lot of time, because I really do like Camille. But anyway, I think that 4 is just done super well. The new characters just make it, having 2 new characters in one season, I will say, was just crazy. It was really cool to have, and I think that one of the greatest teams of all time is in this series with Humphrey, Dwayne, Florence, and Camille. I think it's so good. It's just perfect. Great team there. I mean, I will say I do like it better once Florence is developed more, but whatever. Anyway, I do think that, yeah, Series 4 is just a little bit better than 3. I think it has some of the best mysteries of the show. Adding 2 new characters, it's all great, but it's not quite S+ for me. All right, Series 5, I think, is a notable step down from 3 and 4. Yeah, I'm going to toss it right here. I think that I was originally going to put it above 5, above 2, but thinking back, that just doesn't really make sense to me. When I wrote an article, because I write articles, 2, I put 5 above 2, but now that I'm thinking about it, that just doesn't really make that much sense. So this is where we're at. So Series 5 has some great stuff. However, we don't get any new additions, nothing to really mix up the formula or anything. It's just Humphrey at his best, Dwayne at his best, JP and Florence are just starting to develop more and all that stuff. So it's cool. It's a good series, but it definitely isn't doing anything too interesting. It's definitely a notable step down from 3 and 4 and 2 as well. I think it's fine. I do think that if I were to say my favorite thing about this series for sure is episode 4, A Personal Murder. I think it's one of the best episodes of the whole show. If I were to say which episode had the best emotion, I don't know. If I were to recommend one episode of this show to somebody, it would be that episode, Series 5, Episode 4, because a lot of the other amazing episodes, top tier episodes, I feel require you to have already really liked the show or something like that. If I wanted to hook someone onto this show, I would show them either Series 1, Episode 3 in terms of a cool mystery. But if I wanted to show them, oh, this is how the emotional stakes of Death in Paradise and why you can fall in love with the characters, I think Series 5, Episode 4 is one of the best episodes of the show. Now, everything else about this series is just pretty mediocre. I think it's great, and I don't think it's B tier. I still think it has a great cast, and it's just really good. And it builds off 3 and 4 well, but with nothing mix it up. There's always one with Humphrey and Mooney and what's his face, Neville. There's always one or two series that are kind of mid because it's just them doing detective stuff. There's no crazy subplots or anything. So there's always that one series for each person that is lagging behind a little bit, except for Poole, just because he only has 2. But I think that this one is still really good. And I think the fact that one of the best episodes of the whole show, the one I would recommend to a lot of people, is in this season. I do think that I would say it deserves an A tier. Low A tier, granted, but still an A tier. All right. Let's move into Series 6. This is the best one so far. In terms of just, yeah, it doesn't have the epicness of the intro to Series 3, but as a whole, this is just an amazing. It's so good. It has Humphrey and Martha finally meet. Oh wait, that is one thing about Series 5 I forgot. Him and Martha. Yeah. That was good stuff. I still don't think I'd put it above Series 2, but I knew I was forgetting something. Anyway, with Series 6, him and Martha are meeting up. They're a thing now, and Martha's I gotta go back to London, and Humphrey decides he wants to go back. So we've got this awesome. First 3 episodes are pretty good, but in the middle of the season, Humphrey decides, you know what? Well, Martha leaves, and it's there's a mystery that needs to take place in London. And it's just this amazing way of sending off Humphrey without having to kill him off and getting that new detective in Mooney. So that was really cool. And the fact that Humphrey and Mooney worked together before Mooney came in was super good. I think that in terms of passing the torch to a new detective, it was like the most like cohesive. Now I think that nothing will ever beat the exit of Poole literally solving his own murder in series 3, but in terms of like actually passing the torch and it feeling natural, I think that this one does it the best. The 2 London episodes are some of the best episodes in the whole series. I think just, yeah, a couple episodes in London was awesome. Really cool. And I love that Humphrey got his own spin-off because, I mean, I will admit Humphrey's probably my favorite. And that's not exactly a hot take these days, I'm sure, but he's really cool. And this whole season, yeah, with Mooney coming in, those London episodes, the whole Martha stuff, it's amazing. Now, does it have as high of highs as 3 or 4? Okay, it probably has higher highs than 4, but in terms of 3 is so carried by its first episode, whereas 6, I just feel like has so many good episodes. And when Mooney comes in, I would say Mooney gets the best first episode of any. Well, no. Okay, Humphrey gets the best because, I mean, yeah, it's literally the one where Poole dies. But after Humphrey's introduction, I would say that Mooney gets a real, like, amazing mystery to solve as his first, like, solo mystery. That one about the festival and not hearing the footsteps in the background of the festival, that it was always a standout episode for me. Loved that one. But in the end, I just think the series 6 has just overall every episode is a blast to watch. There's no slowing down in this one, and it's so good. Now, 7 definitely takes a bit of a nosedive after 6. Now I'm going to put it right here. Now, the only reason I'm putting it above 1 is because this is like a Dwayne-centric season. Like, this is just a tribute to Dwayne. Dwayne gets a send-off here, and he's my favorite character, so he gets a great send-off. He gets a great little fling with Darlene, who's a great character. I love that she came back, and I really, really do like this one. And him, like, trying to make up with Nelson after Series 6. Everything about Dwayne is, like, highlight, like, great stuff. Everything else, like the mysteries here are really weak compared to and Mooney just hasn't really, I feel like Mooney just, I don't know, kind of feels like a parody of what he was in 6. He just feels like definitely a step back in this one. I feel like there's some growing pains here. This one just feels a little weak outside of all the Dwayne stuff. So because it's a great tribute to Dwayne, I will put it above Series 1. Just because Series 1 hadn't found its footing too much yet. But Series 7 suffers that same thing. It feels kind of like Mooney's like out of place here. It feels like Humphrey just like instantly just clicked for me. Whereas Mooney took a little bit longer. I feel like this one just was a little rough in passing the torch after it had actually, like, Series 7. It just was pretty hard to watch for a couple episodes. Now, the ending with Dwayne, yes, again, it's amazing. And I think that because of that tribute to Dwayne, it is a little better than Series 1. But in terms of, I could probably switch these any day of the week. Like, they're about equal to me. This one has better mysteries than that. But yeah, I think that because it focuses on Dwayne, I don't hate it. But otherwise, it would definitely be, it would probably be down here if it weren't for the awesome Dwayne action. So yeah. All right. Series 8 is definitely a big step up from, what's it called? Oh, sorry, from 7. I don't know why I blanked so bad there. I'm going to throw it right here, actually. I know a lot of people hate Ruby. I know she's a love it or hate it. And Dwayne is my favorite character of the show. Like, Ruby can't match up. But Ruby and JP and Selwyn, like, Ruby just bounces off JP and Selwyn way too well. Now, does she really, I feel like the team doesn't really feel like a team of 4. It feels like Mooney and Florence and JP and Ruby. Like, it doesn't really feel as cohesive as a lot of the other teams. But I think Ruby just made this a really fun series. Now, was she obnoxious? Yes. But was she obnoxious in a way that I found her fun to watch? Yeah, I will admit. And if it weren't for her being related to Selwyn, it wouldn't be as fun. But when she's like Uncle Selly and all that stuff, I thought she was fun. Um, I get why people wouldn't like her as much, but yeah. Now the big reason this is one of the best of the show is the amazing send off for Florence. We get this amazing 2-part episode where her and her new boyfriend Patrice dies, and it's like heartbreaking. Like, I didn't give a frick about Patrice, really, to be honest. But then he dies, and Florence, this series is where Florence finally got amazing. And I thought that she just absolutely shone here. Now, I will admit, the last 2 episodes of this series are kind of trash. Like, once Florence leaves and Madeline Dumas comes in, those episodes are hard to watch. Like, Madeline is just annoying, and it's really weird. So I would probably say this is S tier if it weren't for those last 2 episodes just being hard to watch. And Ruby's first 2 episodes are pretty rough too. So I feel like episodes 5 and 6 are like probably, you'll see on my episode ranking, they're like top 3. Like, they're both top tier Death in Paradise episodes. But the first episode of the first 2 episodes and the last 2 episodes of this series, the first 2 are mid and the last 2 are hard to watch. So that leaves 4 really good episodes in there. So it's weird because this has like some of the highest highs of the series, but it has some pretty low lows. So I'm going to have to say it's just A tier, but it's still really good. Now, Series 9. This one I'm a little mixed on as well as 8, and I don't think it has as high of highs as 8. You know what? I'm really changing this up a little bit from what I had wrote on my article, but now that I've been just like thinking about it, I wrote the article right after I watched all of them. And now, just in retrospect, I think 9 is definitely a bit better than 5. And it just is a great send off to Mooney. I love the way that it originally feels like, oh, he's just going to get romance and then like travel the world with Anna. But then he decides to do a different take, and his send off is just perfect for Mooney's character. And the greatest thing, Mooney's at his absolute best here. I was really sad to see him go. It took me a while for me to like him. For the longest time, I thought he was way worse than Poole and Humphrey by a lot. But then after 8 and 9, he just grew on me so much. And in the end, I think I ended up liking him better than Poole. That might be a crazy take, but I really liked Mooney by the end. And this was, is it really? I think the send off to Mooney and the wacky introduction to Neville make it a little better than 5. A little better than 5. But there are a couple things here that Madeline is just discount Florence in every way. Like, she's not bad here. She starts being way less annoying. And I think that her and Ruby's friendship is not bad. It's pretty fun. But she's definitely the weak link. You know what? Never mind. I'm going to switch these back. I think that Madeline being a weak link and Neville being pretty annoying with his introduction. Neville was just grading those first 2 episodes, and Madeline was weak. But as a send off to Mooney, this was a fantastic series. Ruby was at her best here. JP was going awesome, and Mooney was at his best. So if it weren't for Madeline existing, the actress is fine. It's just her writing is just not good. But I think Madeline and Neville's introduction dropped this down to a B tier. Whereas I would say has higher highs than 5 with Mooney's send off. I think there's just too many things that annoyed me about this one. Now, does it feel as kind of, I don't know, 1 and 7 just kind of feel more like they're there, they're good, they're great, like they don't have anything like wrong with them too much. Like they're just kind of like they're kind of mediocre. 9 has some amazing moments, but also some trash moments. So I think those high highs are going to make me like 9 better than 7 and 1, but there's still some issues here. Now, Series 10, dang, did Neville get way better. Like, he really grew on me in this one. And I'm going to throw this one up in the S+. I know that might be crazy, but everything here was just amazing. Neville and Florence were so fun to watch. Like, one of the best pairings. Marlon coming in. Oh my gosh. Marlon, depending on the day, I might even say I like Marlon better than Dwayne. Maybe, usually not, but if you catch me on the right day, I might like Marlon better than Dwayne because I love him so much. But Neville's so much better here. When he doesn't have Florence by his side, he doesn't really feel like Neville to me. Feels kind of wrong, but him and Florence is perfect. Just so good. Love that. And so fun to watch. Florence being back in general was just amazing. And yeah, there's some highlights here. So many highlights here. What's her face comes back. Camille comes back. Episodes 5 and 6 of this series are just so good. Oh my gosh, this one just has so many good moments. I'm gonna have to move it above 6. I think it is a little better than 6, just minutely better than 6. Oh gosh, my phone fell on the floor. Sorry about that if you heard that noise. But anyway, Series 10 is just so good. Florence coming back, her and Neville, Marlon coming in. It's perfect. And Marlon and JP are probably one of the greatest. JP really comes into his own here as a mentor, and he like replaces like Marlon and JP is one of the best pairings. Neville and Florence are one of the best pairings. And it's just amazing. Everything about this season is just practically perfect. It's still not my favorite one. There's one that I like better. But Series 10 is amazing. Now, my only problem with Series 10... Also, actually, I gotta say one more. The hospital episode, I love that side character. I think his name was Freddie. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but that dude was hilarious. And yeah, it's just awesome. So much good stuff here. So much good stuff. Like, absolute banger series. I totally get it if someone says 6 or 4 or 3, or honestly, as long as you aren't saying like 7 is the best, I can probably agree with your take. But like even 1, I totally get why people love that one. I mean, it's the first one, you know. As long as you're not saying like 7, 9, or 11 are the best, I can probably 100% get around your opinion. But I mean, even still, I'll respect your opinion. I'll just be a little baffled. But anyway, what I'm saying here, if Series 10 isn't your favorite, I get it. But I just love the two, Neville and Florence, perfect. Marlon and JP, perfect. Selwyn gets more screen time here. It's a perfect season. The only thing that I will say is I feel like once Neville gets on the show, every mystery feels a little bit more. I feel like with 10, 11, 12, and 13, there's less of a focus on the mysteries and more of a focus on like the personal lives, because I feel like the mysteries end up having a lot less suspects than before. It's usually like 3 instead of like 5 or 6, which definitely annoyed me. Now, some of the mysteries are still really good. The mysteries are good, but the amount of suspects makes them a bit more predictable. That is annoying. But I think that while that is annoying to me, there's just so much amazing chemistry from the actors in 10 that 10 is so good for me. Now, is it my absolute favorite? No. And will I totally, like, I will say, 6 had better mysteries than 10, for sure. 4, 3, 5, like, so many of them had better mysteries. But the characters here are just so good. And Camille coming back, too, so good. If I remember correctly, this is also the series where Poole comes back in a flashback. Let me see. I'll look it up. When does Poole return Death in Paradise? 10, yeah, episode 6. Camille, yeah, when Camille comes back and Florence is like on a different mission. Oh, it was so good. Like Camille coming back, like there's so much to love in this series. It's still not my absolute favorite, but it is up there. It's so good. Anyway, let's move to series 11, which easily, far and away, is the worst series. Like, this barely even felt like Death in Paradise to me. It was so hard to watch. After 10, all the stuff about 10 just, I feel like all the mysteries here just got super generic. Florence leaving a second time and Naomi coming in was just super mid. JP is gone. So now all of a sudden we've just got this weird team of Neville, Darlene, Marlon, and Naomi. Naomi, I'm sorry, she's like other than Madeline, she's probably my least favorite character on the show. She's fine. Her and Marlon are kind of cute talking to each other, but as just her on her own, she just suffers. I mean, she just isn't interesting. It's hard to say anything about her. So, and Darlene is so much better when Dwayne is on screen with her. She's fine. She's still good, but yeah. So when half the cast, and also Neville is just not as good when Florence is gone. So basically, this whole series is just carried by Marlon's existence. And again, like I said, the mysteries are suffering here. So what's really good about 10, 11, 12, and 13, the Neville series, I feel like, does the characters the best. When you've taken out the best parts of you've taken out the best characters, Neville and Florence are gone. Marlon just kind of suffers, like he isn't as fun when JP isn't on screen or when other, and Darlene hasn't really come into her own here. So we've just got this cast that isn't really working. The chemistry is just not really working there. And honestly, it was hard to watch. Like, I almost just skipped the series. I was like, is it really going this downhill? Like, you know what? I don't even think D is fair. Okay, I would say it was F if I wasn't biased toward this show because it's one of my favorite shows. But it is hard to watch. If it weren't for Marlon, this would be an F. Easy. Like, it is so bad compared to all the other series. It was rough. The Christmas special was probably the only episode that was good. But Series 10, Series 10 also has the Christmas episode, I think, where Dwayne comes back for a little bit too. Yeah, that was amazing as well. I forgot. I can't stop praising Series 10, I guess, but 11 is just so bad. Like, Neville feels like a parody of himself without Florence, and it's just rough. Florence is in a couple episodes, I guess, but we get another send-off. Oh, I will say, yeah, the Christmas special and the one where Florence goes undercover. The episode where Florence goes undercover is the only good episode of the main season. Everything else is just bad. Like, I think that every episode except for the undercover one is like in my bottom 10 or 15 Death in Paradise episodes. It just feels like a bad replica of Death in Paradise at this point, and it's pretty rough to watch. Series 12 does pick back up a little bit. I will throw it right here. Now, there's one thing about Series 12 that sets it apart from 11. Again, the characters aren't the greatest and all that stuff, but Series 12 kicks it into full gear with an amazing series-long mystery with Sophie or whatever her name is. So what happens, he's all sad because Florence rejected him, right, in Series 11. And in Series 12, he gets a new girlfriend, right, that he meets in the Christmas episode or whatever. And him and Sophie, the whole time I'm like, is this a little too soon? Like, him and Florence were so good. And then I started liking Sophie. You know what? I liked her after a few episodes. Like, she was growing on me. She was the only thing really making the season good. Like, her and Neville, great chemistry. And, Marlon again. And Darlene is getting a little better here. Naomi still kind of sucks. But there's a lot of good things here. And it's pretty good. I would say with all that stuff, it's a C tier. It's C. It's not as bad as 11, but it's a C. But the one thing that is amazing is this series has an insane plot twist that I would say is the best, not the best executed one in this series. I would say, series 3 is just always going to win in terms of how good that the pool death is. Crazy twist. But series 12 has the second best twist, and that is Sophie being evil. The whole time she was trying to either kill Neville or frame Neville for murder, so he's locked up. And dang, did that episode hit hard. Like, after me actually finally liking her, she turns up to be this crazy maniacal evil lady. Dang, it was crazy. So that episode is one of the best. Series 12, like those last couple episodes, crazy, super good. Everything about Neville and Sophie is amazing. However, the rest of the series, it's not as bad as 11, but it still feels pretty mediocre. But that twist is so good, I could not see it coming, which was crazy. Usually I can predict like 90% of the twists in this show. I've watched so many detective shows in this, but I did not expect Sophie to be evil. That was crazy. I was like, wait, we actually went there? So yeah. Other than Sophie, though, Series 12 is pretty mid. But I do think that because that twist is so good, so well done, and it's built up throughout the whole series and not just one episode, I've got to give it mid B tier. All right, now Series 13, the last one, it's not recency bias because I literally went and watched the whole show. I had been behind a few seasons. In America, they kind of like after 6, like they just stopped showing them. So I had to get BritBox and watch all of them. So everything is fresh in my mind. Like all of them I've watched recently. And Series 13 has got to be my favorite. It's my favorite of all of them. It's so good. There's just way too much good stuff here. Florence comes back again, shocking. And her and Neville on screen again, it's way too good. Like, it's just so good. And this has so many crazy moments. The commissioner gets shot. Catherine almost dies, and Camille comes back. There's that. So not only do we get Camille and the commissioner at their best here, we get Neville as best, Florence at her best. We get an amazing send-off from Marlon. We get a cameo from JP. Dwayne comes back. Like, everything here is just a phenomenal. And it just, everything that happens in this series, every episode is so good. It feels like this should have been, like, this feels like the true follow-up to Series 10. It's amazing. Only thing that I don't like is Naomi, but you know what? I can get past that because every single episode of the series is memorable, all fantastic, all probably in my top 20% of the whole show. Like, I have nothing really bad to say about this except Naomi could be better. But that is my only critique of the series. One of my favorite series seasons of any TV show I've watched. It's perfect. If this could have been the last season of Death in Paradise, and it would have felt like a fitting finale. Now, am I glad as heck that it isn't the last? Of course. But it just feels like a greatest hits of everything that came before it. If there were some sort of like Humphrey cameo and another Camille like vision of what's his face, yeah, you know what? It would just be a perfect finale. It could have ended here. I don't want it to end here because I will be watching this show until the day I die. But yeah, I just thought it was so good. Like, everything about it, just everything felt like the perfect, everything Death in Paradise just elevated. And the mysteries here weren't super generic like they were in 11 and 12. Involving the commissioner and Catherine and all those guys into the mysteries and having them both of them almost die. It was crazy. Like, absolutely insane. I think, is this the one where Catherine, maybe I'm going crazy. That might have been 10. Let's see. Piano episode. Death in Paradise. Piano episode. Music to my ears. Okay. Never mind, that was in 10. Okay, of course it was in 10. Anyway, so that was in 10. Sorry about that, y'all. But either way, Camille does make an appearance. I think she has a baby now or something. Anyway, I could say Series 10 is better. Part of me wants to say it's better. But that payoff with Neville and Florence was just too good for me. Loved it. And Dwayne being in this one just absolutely carries it. Dwayne and Darlene are bantering again. It's amazing. Marlon and JP. JP gets to send Marlon off in the most one of the best episodes of the whole show. Marlon being sent off. I cried so hard, bro. When Marlon left, I loved him so much, and his send off was probably like the greatest send off of the show. We did not deserve Marlon to be that good, but he was there anyway. It's perfect. I don't know if any series ever tops this one for me. This might end up being my favorite show of all time. I mean, it's one of my favorite shows, but there are some, I don't know though, but just the characters and the mysteries were perfect in Series 13. Again, my only minute complaint is that Naomi was still mid. But she still wasn't bad. She never did anything wrong. She wasn't like Madeline level bad. But she just wasn't great. But you know what? She was still fine. I do think that it's funny that since Marlon and Naomi like had this weird like kiss or something, and it was so awkward, but then the way they like made up about it was like really fun. So I guess Naomi does get that highlight. But again, anything that's good about Naomi's usually because Marlon did something, but it's fine. I still like Naomi's actress is amazing. Like she does Naomi perfectly. I just wish she had more interesting stuff to do. But anyway, in the end, amazing. Perfect series. Could have been the end of the show. Again, glad it wasn't. All that jazz. Anyway, I could rant about that series for another 10 hours if I wanted to, but I'm not going to because that would piss everybody off. So let's go into Beyond Paradise Series 1. And you know what? I'm throwing it right here. It was a perfect intro to this show. It instantly was able to be just as good as Death in Paradise, yet still have a different vibe. Shipton Abbott is a great setting. I'm glad they moved it away from London. I thought it was cool. I would have liked to see like 1 or 2 episodes at the beginning. It would have been great if this ended up being 8 episodes long and episode 1 was 3, where we get like 2 episodes in London before they decide to move. I would have liked to see something like that. I think the biggest fault this show has is just not having as many episodes per season as Death in Paradise. So sorry y'all, so I guess someone's at the front door, but anyway, they can suck it because I've got a video to make. Anyway, the idea of this whole spin-off was perfect. I mean, Humphrey's just as good as ever. Martha's way better than ever. Martha's mom is so fun. The new characters are really good. I will say they weren't as good, and they were perfection in Series 2. Like, I ended up falling in love with the whole cast. Now, Series 1, they were still, growing pains, right? Like, it's their first time ever being on screen, and it isn't the best. But dang, this show established itself well. And one of the greatest parts is it's not all deaths, so every episode feels so new and fresh. And that is one part of why it just has to be in the A tier for me. It just is super good. And it just did it. Again, my only gripe is I would have liked a couple episodes in London before they moved to Shipton Abbott. I would like to see 8 episodes per season. But this is a spin-off show. They didn't know if people were going to like it or not, so I'm okay with that. Now, I would have liked to start seeing 8 episodes next series, but you know what? 6 is still fine. Like, I think it works with it being like a spin-off. Anyway, there's so much good stuff here. I can't really even say anything bad about it, except, I would have liked to see more episodes and 2 set in London. But when the worst thing you can say about a series is that you want more of it, it's really good. Actually, I'm going to throw it above. I'm going to throw it right here. I think it is a little bit better than series 5. So yeah, it's very good. Great introduction to this fantastic show, and yeah, really good. All right, um, series 2, it just cranks everything up to an insane level and becomes even much greater than the original. Like, all the characters here are so much more fleshed out. We get some way more fun subplots with our side character. Well, not side characters. Our main characters that aren't Humphrey and Martha. We get so much good stuff. Just great emotional stuff with Martha and Humphrey trying to start a family. There's a little bit of that in series 1 at the very end, but it's dramatic and it's kind of annoying. Here it's perfect. The wedding of Martha and Humphrey's perfect. Like, this is just a great second season. Like, they really hit their stride here, and it already feels like, yeah, a top tier series. Like, it's gonna be an amazing show in the future, and I'm so excited to see Return to Paradise later this year, because great, like, it's gonna be good. Like, there's no way it's gonna be bad. It's set in Australia. Like, Australia is the craziest place in the freaking world. Like, of course it's going to be good. There's going to be some crazy deaths there. Anyway, I love this series. It's amazing. It just takes everything about the first one and makes it so much better. Everyone is like twice as good here, and I can't say it's better than like 3 and 4. Like, it's still bottom of S, and a big part of that, again, it just has 6 episodes. It needed to have 8 to be as good as those ones, but it's all right. It's fine. It'll work. I think series 1, if it did have a couple episodes in London beforehand, I probably would say they're about on par. But I think 2 just perfects that everything that 1 did. Like, this is like the Empire Strikes Back of Beyond Paradise, and I'm just so excited to see what they have for series 3. It's gonna be amazing. I feel it. It's gonna be good. Will it be as good as 2? I don't know. It might be hard to beat, honestly. Yeah. I think if I wasn't so attached to 3 and 4, and if this one had 8 episodes, I could see me putting it here. But just having 6 episodes makes it a bit worse. But I kind of want to put it above those 2, but I also kind of don't. This one is just too good. The send off to Poole and the introductions of Florence and JP are just, yeah, I think this is a comfortable place to yeah, it's so good, and I'm so excited for 3. I'm so excited for Return to Paradise. I'm so excited to see our new detective. I really do think it's cool that we're getting a black detective, because you know what? I don't know. I think it's fine, but I know a lot of people do think that it's kind of dumb that people from London are coming, and I think he's from London anyway, so I don't really get why. I don't know. I think people think it's racist or something, which I don't get, because frankly, like, usually, like, Dwayne and all those people are more interesting characters than the main detective. Like, Dwayne is so much fun and all that stuff. So I don't understand that. But you know what? For the people who find that annoying that the main detective is white, I think it's cool that we've got a black dude coming in. I love that we're getting a girl coming in with Return to Paradise. You know what? I don't give a frick about people's gender and the color of their skin. They're all awesome to me. But it is good for the people who, like, want more representation and all that. And I'm happy to see that. And I think he's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see what his new quirk is, to see how he mixes up the show and all that. And Return to Paradise, Australia is just a perfect setting for this type of show, where there's so many crazy creatures down there and stuff, like crazy ways to murder people. You could just throw a python in their toilet or something. There's just so much good stuff here. But anyway, thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, let me know your favorite series of the show. I know a lot of people will think it's crazy that I put Neville's series so high, but you know what? That's just kind of my opinion. So let me know what you think down below. What are your favorites? What are your least favorites? Which ones do you think that you disagree with? What do you agree with? And all that jazz. If anyone really likes Series 11, let me know why down below. I would love to hear your take on why that's a good one. But otherwise, I think that this show has pretty much no like big misses other than Series 11. So I think the show's staying consistently good, and I'm so excited to see what's to come in the future. We're going to be spoiled. We're going to be eating good soon because I've got 3 series dropping so quick here, like just a couple more months, and we're going to get another Beyond Paradise, another Death in Paradise, and Return to Paradise, and I could not be more excited as a Death in Paradise fan. So again, thank you all for watching this video. Stay tuned for the episode ranking and the character rankings coming soon. And yeah, thank you all again for watching. Peace out, Death in Paradise fans. Cut.